KFI AM 640 is later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. It's still hot. It's still hot out there. It's still really, really hot. It's to the point where it's difficult to sleep at night. It's great leaving the office, but outside of that, it's hot. It's unbearable. It's uncomfortable. And, Mark Ronner is probably going to just turn into a ball of flames in just a moment.
No, but I'll tell you, it's making everybody cranky, especially me. I went to open a bank account earlier in the day, and every single time the person at the bank said I had to sign something else or there was some other step we had to go through, I wanted to flip over the desk. It's like, can I just get out of here?
It's true.
Can we expedite everything today?
But did you actually want to leave the bank branch? Because leaving the bank branch, which I assume had air conditioning, would mean that you'd have to go outside into the elements.
No, that's true. My entire existence is now sprinting from one air-conditioned environment to the next and trying never to stay outside more than an instant, longer than I have to.
And this is unseasonably warm, obviously, for Southern California. Yes, I know it does get up to triple digits every now and then. Yes, I know it is a dry heat, but this is still, say it with me, unseasonably warm.
It's not normal. There's no debating it.
Nope, not at all. Well, since we got that out of the way, we always have to start off with the weather. Well, we have to also talk about what's going on in the fast food industry. People have touched upon it, but I have not touched upon it yet. How fast food workers, we've talked about how they now earn $20 per hour. And I've long said that fast food is going to adjust where they have always been moving towards automation. Well, this is not necessarily going to mean that fast food workers are going to lose their jobs, but it will mean that fast food franchisee owners will compensate because they're going to make sure that their bottom line is not going to be any worse off for wear. And so that means they're going to be cutting hours for a lot of these fast food employees. We'll talk about that. And more bad news, we have our friends at Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. Just in case you haven't seen the story, unfortunately, the company was liquidated as of yesterday. And what I mean by liquidated means everyone was let go. Everyone. And the worst part of the story, we'll get into that, employees did not know until late June that their medical was not being paid for by the company for a good month and a half. We'll unfortunately have to get into that as, of course, our regular commentator and contributor and friend of the show, Chris Woolsey, was directly impacted by that. So we have to talk about that. In other layoffs, CNN is laying off about 100 people as CNN is consolidating to what they call the one newsroom strategy. I don't know if that's going to help, but I'll give you my insight as someone who didn't work for CNN, but did a lot of commentaries for CNN. So some of the players on the inside, I do have a little bit of familiarity with. And, hey, Mark, I think you might be interested in this.
What do you got?
If you can get off tomorrow night. It is tomorrow night, though. We have not one, not two, but 3 pairs of tickets we're giving away tonight for tomorrow night's show of Drunk Theater LA. You know, a comedian takes 5 shots of whiskey in a row and then tries to perform an improvised play with 5 sober comedians. It's probably fun for the drunk comedian, not so much for the sober comedians. That's going on tomorrow night at the Santa Monica Playhouse and Group Theater, which is in Santa Monica, of course, but it's tomorrow night. We're giving away 3 pairs of tickets tonight for tomorrow night's show. In fact, it's their 100th show here in Los Angeles. And I'll tell you right now, we're giving them away in the 3rd hour. We have a 7-Eleven update as well when we come back. It's later with Mo Kelly. So much to do, so much to tell you about. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And I have to be honest, I can't remember the last time I actually had a Slurpee. Hell, I can't remember the last time I even walked inside a 7-Eleven, but that's beside the point. But a Slurpee as a kid? Shoot, you couldn't get much better than that. And whenever I wanted to get a Slurpee for some reason, the Slurpee machine never was working, or it never had cherry, because I only wanted cherry. I didn't want Coca-Cola. It seemed like it was only cherry or Coca-Cola, and the Coca-Cola was the only one that was ever working. That was my experience. But I was pretty fond of having a 7-Eleven Slurpee back in the day. And of course, you know by now, it's Slurpee Day, where you can get a free Slurpee. The day's not over. It's the 97th annual Slurpee Day. And this year, 7-Eleven teamed up with the nonprofit Children's Miracle Network to offer a free Slurpee and also a special drink cup designed by one of the group's young ambassadors and cancer survivor, whose name is Nolan. Customers can support Children's Miracle Network and its pediatric cancer initiatives through an in-store fundraising campaign at 7-Eleven. And also Speedway and Stripes stores across the United States. Do they have Speedway and Stripes in Washington, Mark?
I don't know about that.
I thought maybe they're East Coast and Southeast.
Yeah, I'm not, because they have 7-Elevens in Erie.
Yeah. I know of them, I just don't know where they are. But anyhow, this is what 7-Eleven had to say. Quote, Slurpee Day is our annual celebration of 7-Eleven's birthday and our iconic frozen drink. It's a day of joy, community, and good old-fashioned summer fun. We are thrilled to share the nostalgia and create new memories with Children's Miracle Network hospitals and our customers who cherish this tradition so dearly. And when I was in Korea, 7-Elevens everywhere. I don't know why, they have such a foothold in Asia, specifically South Korea, but they're everywhere. They are as plentiful in South Korea as they are here in Southern California. No exaggeration.
But safer, perhaps.
Oh, yes. You do not have to worry about taking a bullet to the dome in South Korea when walking into a 7-Eleven. And even there, I didn't even walk in. I walked by. I took a picture in front of us. Look, old habits die hard.
Yeah, right? Muscle memory. Just keep moving. Keep moving.
7-Eleven it's not a place I want to walk in. But, even on Slurpee Day, I had to think about, am I willing to brave the dangers of a 7-Eleven for a free Slurpee?
Do you get a free dressing for your wound along with the free Slurpee?
I'm not so sure you do. I'm not so sure.
Look,
they didn't say that in the press release.
I have friends and coworkers who went to 7-Eleven today to get free Slurpees. They didn't get stabbed or accosted. I even got coffee at 7-Eleven.
Oh, wait a minute. You went to 7-Eleven this morning?
Yeah, I got coffee. I'm here.
No, but what was it like walking through the doors? Was there anyone standing outside like a homeless person begging for money?
There was not. There were no homeless people outside. This is in Chatsworth. This was on the corner of
Chatsworth.
No. Because
right next to where they do pornos.
In Chatsworth, in our area, there's lots of meth addiction.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's some porns being shot somewhere down the street.
There's a mattress somewhere in the street.
Somewhere is a mattress, but there were none of that in front of this 7-Eleven. Right there on the corner of Devonshire and Topanga. I know someone's probably going to hit us up on the app and say, no, there's homelessness all around there and murder and mayhem and all of that. I get it. There are always police cars and sirens blaring around that area, but I didn't get stabbed. I just got my coffee.
Okay. Just because you didn't get stabbed on the Metro, it doesn't mean that Metro is safe. Just because you didn't get impaled at 7-Eleven, it does not mean, ergo, 7-Eleven is safe. The absence of mayhem doesn't mean that there isn't a propensity for mayhem.
But I think that it's also unfair to just blanket blame 7-Eleven for all types of mayhem and murder.
No. I'm not blaming 7-Eleven. No,
or their lack of security or their attraction to mayhem and murder. I don't know. What do we say?
What can I say? 7-Eleven doesn't kill people. People kill people. All right?
At 7-Eleven.
I'm not going to blame 7-Eleven. All right? It's not like we're going to outlaw 7-Elevens. Get your free Slurpee. Help a child with cancer. It's for a good cause.
Well, here's what should be outlawed is the ungodly combos that Foosh was talking about, mixing Slurpees earlier. I don't know if you heard that before you started, but he's talking about like mixing banana and cola and stuff. Foosh, you belong behind bars.
Well, I did go to 7-Elevens back in the day, and we would get suicides. Do you know what those are?
No.
What?
Wow.
Oh, come on. See? How do you not know what suicides are?
Don't you turn this on me.
How's it? We all know and you
I
don't.
know exactly what you're talking about.
Is it when you just put everything into the cup?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Well,
you
yeah.
go to the beverage machine and you go left to right or right to left and you get a little bit of everything.
So it's like a Long Island iced tea. It's for amateurs.
Except there's no alcohol.
But
Yeah, no alcohol.
again, for amateurs.
Okay.
Oh, Mark, just because you went straight alcohol when you were a kid.
Yeah, it explains a lot.
When did you have your first drink,
In
Mark?
the womb, okay? In the womb.
Ow, Mark.
He might be telling the truth.
I know.
He might be telling the truth.
I'm one of
That's
the
what I
few
heard.
success stories of fetal alcohol syndrome. I want you to show some respect.
No, Mark.
But also, real quick, I was the opposite of you, Mo. I only wanted Coke, and every time I went, the Coke was out, but the cherry worked. I was
Cherry's
so
the best.
bummed out.
Cherry's the only flavor that matters.
Yeah. And then on top of that, blue raspberry always worked, and no one ever touched it. No one ever touched it.
To my life, I don't think I've ever had blue raspberry.
I don't think I have either. Yeah.
It's cherry or nothing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like the blue raspberry is nasty or anything.
I
It's
wouldn't
just
know.
It's a distant second to cherry.
I'm just saying,
It's
I
not
wouldn't
really
know.
good, no.
If I'm in the mood for a Slurpee, as I would possibly be on Slurpee Day, I'm going to get cherry. And even when they have it at the movies, it seems like they never have working cherry Slurpee.
I think that as a child, I was half comprised of Slurpee because I don't know if you remember this. They had the superhero plastic cups.
Of course.
I got every one of them and duplicates of plenty of them. I rode my bike to 7-Eleven every day and plunked down my quarter for one of those.
Well, here's something else which has changed or been
Quarter, wow.
added to, I know, times have really changed.
My 2 bits and a side of beef.
Oh, my God.
Here's something else that they've added to 7-Eleven, just in case you are willing to run the gauntlet and risk your life. This month, shoppers will find new menu items in 7-Eleven. They added chicken nuggets,
Yep.
breakfast skillet taquitos,
Yes, they have.
Philly cheese steak taquitos, and the best of all, personal breakfast pizzas.
So health food.
I mean, yeah.
What did you expect? This is 7-Eleven.
I have seen the taquitos. They're like sausage, egg, and cheese filled taquitos. And the breakfast
Those were good.
pizza.
I get those back in the day. I did.
Right?
Yeah.
And the breakfast pizza, it's almost like a scramble on a slice of bread.
The only thing that's healthy in 7-Eleven are the overripe bananas at the register. All 3 of them, which are turning brown.
They have produce at 7-Eleven?
Yeah, they do, right at the register.
Right in the front.
Yes.
Which is ironic because it's right when you walk in, but no one touches it.
No one touches it. I've never seen anyone buy any produce from 7-Eleven
Green
in my life. In my life.
They have eggs, and they have already boiled eggs.
They have hard-boiled eggs. Yeah.
Hard boiled, green apples.
But I don't know if those are safe to eat.
So these taquitos you're talking about, the breakfast taquitos.
They are yummy.
Do you recommend eating them on the toilet or in the shower? Which one?
No. You have to eat them in rapid succession, and you have to make sure.
And they exit you at a high velocity.
No. You'll probably be constipated before anything. Okay, it's gonna have some trouble moving through your system. It doesn't go down easy.
Well,
That's why you get
we're
the
all
coffee.
different, aren't we?
See, I don't drink coffee, so
Oh, yeah,
I had to
the
deal with
coffee
the
helps
constipation.
the bills to pass. Yeah.
Yeah. See, all these helpful hints on this, the 97th annual Slurpee Day. It's later with Mo Kelly. Let's talk fast food and minimum wage when we come back.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now we have more data. Now we have more information. Now we have a little bit more perspective about this minimum wage law with respect to fast food workers, which was raised from $16 to $20 an hour back on April 1st. $16 to $20 an hour. That's a significant increase. And the general discussion is whether that would lead to workers being laid off. And the data shows that that has not been the case as of yet. But it has led to, or at least if you believe the franchisee owners, they will tell you by and large, maybe not everyone, but by and large, they will say that it's led to higher prices on the menu. And that cost is being passed along to customers. And these same franchisee owners, again, this is general, most of them, from all the information I've seen, they've said that it's led to cutting of hours of existing employees, which means that franchisee owners are trying to make sure that their bottom line does not change. They are not going to be left to suffer because of the increase in the wages that they would have to pay each and every worker. But there's something else, I think, which was left out of the discussion, but it's relevant, it's important, and it's impactful. Don't think that just because you raise the minimum wage from $16 to $20 an hour for your basic workers, entry-level workers, that's who we're talking about, that doesn't have a cascading effect on your other employees. Let's say you're working at McDonald's and you've worked there for 5 years or so. You're not any longer a bottom of the rung employee. Let's say you're a floor manager, something like that, and you're making, back in March, let's say you're making $19.75 an hour, a good $3 more than the people who just got hired a few months ago, who were entry level, who just came in the door. And your $19.75 an hour floor manager is then looking at people who just started working at McDonald's or some other fast food place making $20 an hour. Are you going to tell your floor manager, well, I can't give you a raise because I gave everyone else a raise? No, you're probably going to have to raise the wages of your floor manager. I don't know, the person who is the senior manager of fries, whomever, the person who's responsible for the apple pies, whatever specialized duties, and of course, your store manager. Everybody probably will get a raise. Is this fair? It's probably fairer to your existing employees. It's probably unfair to the customers. And I know if I were to ask Mark Ronner, and I would agree with him on this, I think it belies the truth as to where these franchisee owners are making or losing money. Now, I know the margins may be slimmer, but I don't know that just because of raising wages that all of a sudden has turned their business model upside down.
I keep seeing complaints about this and claims that places have to close because of this new minimum wage raise. But what about the places that have, say, automated or self-checkout? The prices are no cheaper there.
No, not at all. And since we talked about McDonald's specifically, McDonald's, I would probably say they're the one outlet which has mostly, the ones that I've been going to the past few years, they have mostly automated checkouts. They have at best, correct me if I'm wrong, Stefan, when I go into McDonald's, I'll be lucky if I see more than one person on one register.
It's literally one person, the one that I go to, and sometimes they even have to go in and help in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So, like, because sometimes I get food for my dad, and the person will come. Well, I'll do the self-checkout, but
I'll do the kiosk.
Yeah. Okay. So they'll come and get my order, and then they'll go back and do fries.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And that wasn't different after April 1st. That's how it's been for a while. Now, I know that one person is probably making $4 an hour more, assuming they were making minimum wage prior to. But as far as passing along just the cost to customers, I don't know if it's an honest conversation because you're not acknowledging that you already had a few employees. You already cut back the employees to begin with.
I think you're right. And I think every time a business says that they're enduring a hardship because they have to pay people a living wage, they deserve to be looked at with some skepticism. It's just the reason that there is a minimum wage is because if there wasn't, they'd be paying less than that.
No, they would pay them zero.
They would pay as little as they could get away with. And right now, the minimum wage is the least they can get away with.
Right. It would be China. You know, we always talk about China or slave labor. That's what these businesses would do if you remove the minimum wage. I don't know what a living wage is here in Southern California. I'm being honest because there are multiple factors in it. I don't know if you can actually afford housing on $20 an hour, a single income. I don't think that's possible.
No. And, you know, if somebody who is involved in a big company like McDonald's wants to complain about paying people a higher minimum wage, then, you know, let's be honest and forthcoming about the $30 to $40 million the CEO makes and all that other stuff. You've got to factor it all in.
All of that has to be factored in. That's why I think it's a dishonest conversation. Yes, I understand that if you increase the cost of labor, that cost has to be offset somewhere. But no, I don't think it should always fall on the shoulders of customers. To Mark's point, if you had a better allocation of some of these salaries, if you look at the salary structure of these upper level executives, and I'm not talking about socialism, I'm just talking about this is just being ridiculous. No one person is responsible for $40 million worth of salary plus stock options.
Do you think a CEO works hard enough so that they deserve like 5,000 times more than their workers? Absolutely not.
No, not at all. And they're not as responsible for the success of the company. Now, they are burdened with the responsibility if it does fail. But if you think about what the McDonald's CEO probably makes and how much that person is actively involved in the day-to-day or the success trajectory of McDonald's, probably very little.
It gets kind of tedious that we always have to stipulate that we're born capitalists and we're not dirty pinko commies. But one thing that we have to acknowledge about our system is that in that system, there's no such thing as enough.
No, there's never enough, but people want to have it both ways. They want to talk about, well, this is a capitalistic society and, you know, you're going to be paid your worth. And then they want to complain about homelessness. They want to complain about how high rent is or how high inflation is. It's all connected. You can't say I love capitalism and you want to talk about how anything else is socialism or communism and not also acknowledge the price gouging and the unfair labor practices, which are also part of the equation.
You've got to acknowledge the price gouging and the greed, or it's an incomplete conversation.
And for you to say, well, it would be okay or we wouldn't have this problem if we would keep wages low, you are trading one problem for another. If you're worried about homelessness, you can't say that we're going to fight homelessness and pay people less.
Well,
go ahead.
You're exactly right. If you want to keep wages low, like say Walmart, it doesn't go away that people need food and housing. Taxpayers wind up picking that up. You and I pay the difference.
And there is a correlation between depressed wages, depressed labor costs, and crime. You can't have it all. If you have a populace which is struggling economically and financially, disproportionately, not trying to rhyme, you will see a correlation between rising crime, rising inflation, rising disenchantment of people, and rising frustration. If you want to talk about, oh my gosh, I can't believe the inflation going on in America right now, and not talk about the rising cost of rent, which is another degree of inflation, you don't want rent control, then you don't understand how all these factors of production fit together. And it's not one thing controls everything, but everything does come together to talk about this one thing, talking about the economics and the problems that we as Americans have. It's not going to get better by paying people less. That much I know. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and talking about the bad economic situation and news and people losing their jobs. We got to talk about CNN, huge layoffs going over there as they try to redefine their mission or something like that. And also Redbox / Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, liquidating, filing Chapter 7. We'll tell you about it.
Ooh, Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. I never worked for CNN, but I did do rather consistent commentaries, guest appearances on CNN over the past 12 years or so until I started doing commentaries for Spectrum. Never been paid a dime, but it did give me some insight as to how CNN internally worked. And I saw a progression, an evolution of CNN, where when I was there under Jeff Zucker, he was the president at the time, it was 100% hyper-political focus. It was opinion and editorial. And I'm talking about CNN domestic. People don't know that there's CNN domestic and there's CNN international. And the international, you don't see too much in the United States. You'll see it on late at night, like maybe midnight until 3 a.m. But mostly you'll see what is called the CNN domestic channel. That's what you and I and everyone else will see when we turn on our streaming or our cable. It's CNN domestic. But if you catch CNN in any other country or you go to the airport, you'll probably get the international feed. And that is not political. That's actual news. It's just straight, unadulterated, non-opinion news. And there's always been this push-pull at CNN as far as how they should marry the two going forward and also not be ignorant of the importance of ratings, especially on the domestic side. That's part of the reason why CNN keeps going through these changes, because they can't find the right recipe or the proportions to appeal to the particularly American audience, where we're hyper-focused about the politics and the presidential race. But outside of America, people don't give a damn at all. But CNN, when I was going there, I would go to the bureau on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. They had a studio back then. So I want to say like this is maybe like 2016, 2017. They had a bureau, a studio in which they had shows being produced out of LA. They had shows being produced out of Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and New York. And when Chris Lick came in, that didn't work. And now they have another CEO, Mark Thompson, and he had no relation. This Mark Thompson has this one newsroom strategy. So I said all that so you have given a sense of what it means to have one newsroom, one main central location for all of CNN domestic programming. And it's supposed to merge their linear and digital news gathering. And because of that, they will eliminate about 100 employees. I haven't got the list of who those people are, but I'm quite sure I know some of them. The CNN workforce is about 3,500 people. So it's not a huge amount, but it's still a significant amount if you know how news gathering and news dissemination works. They tried CNN, their subscription streaming service. That really never worked. They've tried the addition of fast channels like CNN Originals and CNN in Espanol. They've tried a number of things, but nothing has actually worked all the time. But that's when you read that CNN is laying off people and they're trying this one newsroom strategy. They're trying to consolidate all of their operations. And I think it's going to be in New York. They've had locations in Atlanta, but I don't think they're going to be doing that in Atlanta going forward. So that's the first thing. And also, I have to be very quick because we were over last segment. I'm really disappointed to read the news about Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, one of the big supporters of our show, Chris Woolsey, who would join us every other week. He was responsible for all those Redbox codes. And you know Redbox is owned by Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. And I talked to Chris today. I can't divulge what we talked about, but I can say just from publicly available information that Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment completely liquidated, filing Chapter 7. It was originally Chapter 11, and then the judge said, no, this is going to be Chapter 7. We're going to liquidate all assets to be able to cover some of these debts. And that means a workforce of 1,000 people already have been let go. And it's even worse because, and this is also publicly known information, that employees were not getting paid for the better part of a month, and their health benefits were not being paid for more than a month. And the employees obviously knew about the paychecks not coming in, but they did not know, or they were finding out in the course of trying to use their health care, that their medical was not being paid for either. It's a very, very sad and I would say an angering situation. You can only imagine if you were in something like that. I've been in something similar, and it always blindsides you. You can always hear rumors, but until it actually happens, it is usually worse than what you thought was going to happen. It puts a really, really bad taste in your mouth. But Chris is still a friend of the show, and he will be back in some other capacity, I'm sure, in the future. But this is something, if you've ever worked in entertainment, this is always something which looms on the horizon. Entertainment companies, they go through these periods where they expand, they contract, and they do so very quickly. Sometimes they expand too fast, too soon, and sometimes they overcorrect and contract. And I will say this, when Redbox, when they were still trying to invest more in the DVD business for Redbox, that seemed strange to me. It didn't seem like that was going to be the technology of the future, or that was going to be the cash cow to help the company along. But I'm on the outside looking in. And then when I see something like this happen, I wonder if there wasn't something else afoot going on that we're not exactly sure of. But if there was, I'm quite sure that will be made public in the future, and we'll keep you informed.
Talk without the tilt.
KFI
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live